For latest astrology videos, subscribe AstroEdify channel and press this bell icon to get notified when a new video goes live. Hello everybody, welcome to AstroEdify. Today we are going to talk about the remaining planets, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. What do they represent and signify in Vedic astrology? So far we have covered Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury and Jupiter. If you have not watched that video, you can watch that in the playlist of the channel, and its link is also provided in the card section of the video. So today we are going to talk about the remaining planets and what each planet exactly signifies in Vedic astrology. So let's start this video. If you want to book a consultation for yourself, you can go on this website. The link is given in the description. So we are going to start with the remaining planets today, that is Venus, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu. What do they represent in Vedic astrology? So we will start with Venus here. Now Venus is a watery planet, so the tattva, the element of Venus is Jala, water. And there are two zodiac signs which Venus governs, that are Taurus and Libra. Venus is lord of Friday, so it is known as the Varesh of Friday. If you don't know what Varesh, Tithi, Karana, Nakshatra are, they are parts of Panchanga. I have already made videos on them, and you can watch them in the playlist of the channel, and the link of the playlist is also shown in the card section as well. So Panchanga are 5 limbs of time, which are very important and fundamental to understand before jumping into all detailed analysis of a horoscope. So Venus governs 2 tithis, Sashti and Chaturdashi. Karan is Vanij, and 3 nakshatras, Bharani, Purv Phalguni and Purvashada are 3 nakshatras governed by Venus. Now what does Venus represent? Venus is the significator of Maya. Maya means the material world in which we live, entire material world. Not only that, but Venus is also a personified version, or it is personified as the entire creation as well. So Maya is not only the created world around us, but also the entire universe which we are able to see, and also the universe which we are not able to see, but it is still exists. So entire Maya, the entire creation, Venus is a personified representative of that. Next thing, Venus is the nature or Prakriti. So again, it's the same thing. The world around you, it is the Prakriti. Venus is also known as Daitya Guru. So there are 2 gurus. One is Jupiter, one is Venus. Now, Jupiter is a Deva Guru, means a teacher with dharma, morals, ethics, values, principles. Now, it does not mean that Venus does not have morals, ethics, values, principles. But Venus is a realistic world teacher. Venus and Saturn are 2 planets which give life lessons, and they are more they lay more emphasis on a realistic understanding, practical understanding of the world rather than some bookish knowledge. So that is why it is known as Daitya Guru, a realistic world teacher without the dharma aspect. Next thing, Venus is our emotions. Now Moon and Venus, both these planets govern emotions, feelings, happiness. So any kind of happiness through anything in the world which is there, that is represented by Venus. Then Venus is the controller of prosperity, abundance, beauty of every kind, youth, attraction, lust, passion, charm, romance, love, relationships, marriage. For everybody, marriage, Venus represents marriage for females and males, both of them. But for males, Venus is very important because it is also the controller of a wife. Venus governs conjugal bliss. It in terms of a spiritual aspect, it is the controller of bhakti yoga, the path of devotion and surrender. Venus is our social life, so it is the controller of Libra. Libra is the society around you. So Venus governs the social life, the society itself, the people around you in the environment, that is governed by Venus. Now Venus is also the significator of creativity, imagination, all sorts of arts and crafts, any kind whatsoever. Then it is the controller of design, any kind of design. Then Venus is also known as Lakshmi. So Lakshmi means goddess of wealth. And not only when I say wealth not necessarily indicates money. It can indicate wealth of anything. It can be wealth of knowledge, it can be wealth of art, it can be wealth of some talent, it can be wealth of the money itself, it can be with the wealth of power. So it represents, Venus means Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. So generally it is the symbolic representative of money, richness, luxuries, comforts, pleasures, of all kinds which exist in this world. Then Venus, if we say, then Venus governs clothes, foods, drinks, hospitality, houses, vehicles, jewelry, scents, etc., etc. Then Venus represents show and glamour and fame and name, entertainment. If we talk about our body, then Venus controls major body parts like reproductive system. So it governs it governs the fertility. Then for males it governs semen, for females it is the ovaries. Then it represents it controls your genital organs. Then Venus is responsible for hormones in the body, particularly pancreas, means insulin. Then in general also hormones are controlled by Venus and Moon together. Then Venus is representative of a urinary system, controls the prostate gland in males. It controls the eyes, hair, and if Venus is damaged, then it can bring all sorts of mental problems, just like Moon. Moon and Venus, two of these planets, if they are really damaged, they have full capacity to bring all kinds of mental problems of all kinds of intensities, smaller to higher. So this is what Venus represents. Now the next planet is Saturn. Now Saturn's tattva, element of Saturn is air, and it also has some earth qualities as well, but the main element of Saturn is air. Then it controls two zodiac signs, one is Capricorn, another is Aquarius, and it is the lord of Saturday. Two tithis which Saturn governs are Saptami and Purnima. Then Karana, which Saturn controls, is Vishti or Bhadra, means it's the same thing. Then the nakshatras are Pushya, Anuradha and Uttar Bhadrapad. Now Saturn governs certain things, means it is also a significator of really important things in our lives. So first of all, Saturn is known as the controller of the karma. Now karma means action along with the consequences. It does not mean only the part of action. It controls action as well as consequences. That is karma in totality. Next point here is that it governs the nyaya. Nyaya means justice. Technically, there is no exact word for nyaya in English. The most appropriate or closest to represent nyaya is justice, but technically justice is also not going to do proper justice to nyaya here. So the thing here is that nyaya means application of logic to understand the truth and bring out justice. That is what nyaya means. So karma and nyaya are two things which Saturn controls entirely. Then Saturn is the representative of crude reality, harsh practical life. It is it shows duty, responsibility, commitment, hard work, dedication, discipline, organization, structure, law and order, implementation of law. That is what Saturn. Saturn does not make law. Lawmaker is Jupiter. Saturn is the implementer of the law. Then Saturn controls delay, struggles, boundaries, limitations. It is a slow planet, so it gives the results very, very slowly. So it represents patience, boundaries, lethargy, untidiness, isolation. Then Saturn is also a practical planet, so it controls keen observation, deep thinking, continuous efforts. A person who has good Saturn will not leave things unfinished. They complete it, no matter they do it on their own slow pace, but they are going to complete it because there is a sense of duty and responsibility towards the task. Whether good, whether it's small or big, it does not matter. But a good Saturn brings this kind of nature where person relentlessly completes their things in life. So apart from that, Saturn is ruthless pragmatism. It has no emotion whatsoever. So it is emotionlessness. Saturn is a planet of service of all kinds, and it represents old age, longevity, darkness, coldness, separation, fear, trauma, sorrow, sadness, misery, pain, suffering, pessimism, dissatisfaction, depression, changes, transformation, obstacles. So you might understand why everybody hates Saturn and everybody is afraid of Saturn, because it represents such harsh aspects of life which we do not want to confront, and we also are afraid of it tremendously. So that is what Saturn is. But the point here is that Saturn is also a teacher who teaches you through life lessons. It teaches you to bring some appropriate positive change within you. But it depends on person whether they are willing to accept their reality or they want to continue in denial. If a person is going to continue in denial, then Saturn is going to torment you severely, no matter what. But if a person accepts their real situation and they understand what's going on and they try to make improvement, then that is what happens, that Saturn gives good results. So the point here is that it is a planet which makes you work really hard. It makes you self-introspect and look for the problems within you and improve. But it's not an easy journey. So that is, if you take and deal with Saturn in this way, it's going to help you a lot rather than complaining and moaning and groaning. That is not the way of Saturn. So Saturn represents transformations of all kinds and obstacles, imprisonment also. Saturn is the controller along with Mars and Rahu. It controls loans, debts and litigation and enemies. Saturn is, if it is bad, otherwise not. If Saturn is really badly placed, then it will show lies, fights, manipulation, cunningness, theft, crime of all kinds. If it is bad. If it is not bad, then it will not show this. Then Saturn is the controller of all kinds of diseases, particularly which are chronic in nature and incurable. Then Saturn represents research. Along with Rahu and Ketu, it is a planet of research, mystery, hidden things, secrets. And in terms of subjects, Saturn controls history, archaeology, culture, tradition, philosophy, all kind of STEM fields actually, science, technology, engineering and mathematics fields, manufacturing, heavy industries of all kinds, iron, steel, coal, oil, gas, machinery, manufacturing of everything. That is the domain of Saturn itself. So you might understand. And one more thing, Saturn along with Mars controls land and construction and infrastructure. So you might understand that Saturn is one of those planets which is responsible for the development around us. Without Saturn, there is no development because all the things, all the resources, most of them are governed by Saturn. Apart from that, Saturn, if we talk about, is the planet of detachment, material detachment. It is the controller of yoga, sadhana, and generally for everybody, along with Sun and Mercury, Saturn is also considered a natural significator of career. If Saturn is not well placed, most of the times people face difficulties in career, no matter what their 10th lord is. Apart from that, it represents your subordinates at workplace, then or any kind of servants which serve you. Saturn is the controller of democracy. And in terms of body, Saturn represents bones, teeth, digestive system, feet, and all chronic diseases, as I said. So this is what Saturn is. Now we will talk about Rahu. Now Rahu, the tattva of Rahu is air. So the element of Rahu is air. It is also known as the north node of moon. And the sign which Rahu governs is Aquarius along with Saturn. And Tithi. The Tithi of Rahu are two Tithis. One is Ashtami and another is Amavasya. And the Karan of Rahu is Shakuni and Chatushpad, and nakshatras are Ardra, Swati and Satabisha. Now Rahu represents several things. First of all, it controls Maya. Just like Venus, Rahu is also a planet which helps Venus to create the world around us. And Rahu is represented and said to be a planet which creates illusion, which manifests the illusion of the material world around us. So Rahu represents the Maya. Then it is Ajnana, ignorance, and ignorance is one of the primary factors for creation. Without ignorance, the creation cannot exist. So Rahu controls Ajnana, ignorance, and it is the planet of Adharma. Adharma means totally opposite to dharma. So anything which is opposite to law, order, structure, morals, ethics, values, principles, belief system, ideologies, culture, religion, tradition, philosophy, anything which is completely opposite to it, that is adharma. So Rahu represents anarchy, no law and order at all. It represents, I will not say foolishness, but it represents ignorance, blinded materialism, and breaking of law. That is what it is. So it is the controller of adharma. Then Rahu is known as Visha. Visha means poison. So poison of what? Poison of ignorance in our minds. Rahu is said to be north node of the moon, so it will impact the moon. And what is moon? Moon is mind. So it is a poison which is going to impact your mind by creating confusion, delusion, illusion, and various material desires which are not going to bring happiness in your life at all. That is what Rahu is. And it lets you forget your own true nature. That is what Rahu is. So that's why Rahu is known as poison, Visha. Then Rahu is pure blinded materialism, worshipper of money, wealth, power, lawlessness, sex, and any kind of tamasic activities whatsoever. So total immersion of one's whole entire body and mind and senses into the material world. That is what Rahu is. Then that is why Rahu is known as hedonism, and it is all kind of attraction or temptation which you find around you. So that's Rahu. Then Rahu is completely fake, shallow and hollow life. Also it controls all kind of endless desires, greed, superior ambition, and ambition is just a fancy term for greed. So Rahu represents greed of all kind. You are never satisfied. No matter how wealthy, how successful you become, you are still unsatisfied. You still want more and more and more. That is what Rahu is. Then Rahu is self-denial, self-deception, continuous expansion. It is cleverness. It is intelligent planet. So it represents intelligence, resourcefulness, smartness, and on the spot thinking and quick wit. That is what Rahu is. Now Rahu is also, just like Saturn, it represents practicality, opportunism, but it is also a selfish planet. So it represents high level of selfishness. You cannot trust Rahu. It is lies, manipulation, cunningness, dishonesty, deceit, deception, corruption, immorality, hate, ruthless pragmatism, emotionlessness along with manipulation. So a person who does not have emotions, but they can imitate emotions. That is what Rahu is. Now it is also keen observation, tact, strategy, diplomacy, conspiracy, politics. Without Rahu there is no politics. Intrigue, backstabbing. It is a very good planet, an important planet for doing business, commerce, and all kinds of entrepreneurship. Then Rahu, similarly to Saturn, represents delay, struggle, slowness, lethargy, untidiness, isolation. But it is not a planet of patience. It is impatience. It wants things right now and on the spot. That is what Rahu is. Then it is also darkness, coldness, separation, fear, confusion, trauma, obsession, sorrow, misery, pain, suffering, pessimism, depression, high levels of egomania. That is what Rahu is. Then, and Rahu also represents changes and transformations, obstacles, loans and debts, litigation, just like Saturn. Rahu also represents bad company and habits, addictions, enemies, all fights, lawlessness, crime, anarchy, imprisonment, diseases, attachment, moha, attachment to anything in the world. That is Rahu. And after giving attachment, it brings a lot of fear of losing that thing. That Rahu represents research, mystery, secrets of all kinds, hidden things, foreign things and lands, anything which is foreign in nature, different from your culture or upbringing. That is what Rahu represents. Then Rahu is taboos, anything which society does not accept easily. That is what Rahu is. Unconventionality, taboo things. Also Rahu represents machinery and STEM fields, science, technology, engineering and mathematics fields. So these are the various things which Rahu represents. And remember, I am just telling you what Rahu shows. So you don't have to apply it, okay, I am like this. No, you have to study the chart. So we are just understanding what each planet represents, that's all. Now, apart from that, Rahu, and now the next planet is Ketu. Now Ketu, the tattva of Ketu here is, element of Ketu is Agni, fire. Now Ketu controls Scorpio. It is the lord of Scorpio along with Mars. And Ketu is not a Varesh and Tithi lord of anything. It, however, it controls Karana. Two Karanas are there, Kimstugn and Nagava. And nakshatras are Ashwini, Magha and Mool. Three nakshatras are ruled by Ketu. Now, Ketu is also known as south node of the moon. So, Ketu has it represents two things, one on the spiritual side, one on the destructive side of the Ketu. So, one is the positive aspect of Ketu, another is destructive aspect of Ketu, negative part. We will see both the things. So, Ketu represents, and see, I have made a detailed video on Rahu and Ketu, what Rahu and Ketu represent in various terms, philosophically, astrologically, astronomically, psychologically. How do they impact us? I've made a detailed video on them. You can watch that video. I hope that you will be understanding in detail, in depth, many things which I guarantee you would never have heard. Just see and watch that video, listen to it. You will have a more firm, clearer understanding of what Rahu and Ketu are. Now, what Ketu represents is absolute consciousness. Absolute consciousness, and it is your own true nature. If you don't understand this, watch that video which I have said to you. The link is in the card section. Now, Ketu is our internal material consciousness as well. So, absolute consciousness is different from internal material consciousness. It has been explained in that video. Next point here is that it represents isolation, research, mystery, secrets, intuition, dreams, material rejection and detachment, monasticism, spirituality, yoga, tantra, sadhana means austerity and rigorous disciplined practice. That is what sadhana is. Then it is moksha, enlightenment and liberation. Ketu is self-realization. Then the negative aspects of, these are good aspects of Ketu. Now, negative aspects of Ketu, if you will see, it represents negative aspect of Mars most of the time. So, impatience, impulsiveness, irrationality, immaturity, stupidity, anger, fury, hate, jealousy, bitterness, resentment, sadism, arrogance, stubbornness, violence, fights, destruction and cruelty, crime, anarchy, war, disease, accident, injuries, surgery, pain, death, destruction of everything, separation, losses, fear, confusion, extreme dissatisfaction, trauma, abuse, sorrow, sadness, misery, suffering, pessimism, self-denial, now see, if Ketu is bad, then instead of giving self-realization, it's going to bring self-denial, fear and anxiety and self-deception, depression, insanity. Then it shows sudden changes, transformations, asylums and jails. So this is what Ketu represents in Vedic astrology. So we have discussed all the planets today, and in this video I hope that you would have understood by now that there are multiple things what each planet represents, but you have to see its placement. I've already made various videos how each planet acts in a particular sign. You can watch those videos as well, planets through signs. The playlist is available in the channel. So today we have completed this. In the next part of the basic series, we will discuss certain new things, and so far I hope that you would have understood by now what each planet represents. In the next part I will discuss what each house represents. So we will talk about houses. Total 12 houses are there, and what each house controls, what does it signifies in Vedic astrology, that we are going to learn. Okay, so if you are new to my channel, subscribe below for more. Check on my website, Facebook page and Instagram. Their links are provided in the description. So if you otherwise we will meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye and thank you.